some very interesting movements in the markets and individual stocks as well, and we'll continue that conversation. Remember, IndusInd is now down 27% nearly, and the same times there are a clutch of other names. But Tata Communications, for example, is up 8%. But here's a small snapshot from the Macquarie FII meet. The Macquarie met up with 30 investors in the EU region. And here are the key takeaways, right? They're saying that investors are looking to deploy money into Indian markets post the corrective move. And they are saying that most investors may cut the current underweight stance, but the overweight stance is still some time away. So not completely overweight currently. And the interesting piece is they say that India is a structural story. China has structural issues and is a tactical short-term play and not really a long-term play as per Macquarie's feedback from 30 EU investors. Now, the other interesting piece is that now they're starting to watch, global investors are starting to watch domestic flows. So their feedback is that the key worry was how domestic liquidity could get impacted post recent correction, because if this were to happen, it could derail. They are tracking this closely, because if the domestic liquidity dries up, it could actually derail the recovery of the Indian equity markets. That's the feedback that Macquarie has gotten from those 30 EU investors as well. And what sectors are they looking at? That's the other key thing. Let's move on to that. The sectors that they are looking at. We've spoken about this. Let's move on to the sectors effectively. The financial stocks, at least, that Macquarie is talking about. HDFC Bank, ICICI Kotak Bank had the most interest. Bajaj Finance, people are happy with. Shriram Finance, a lot of interest, and PB Fintech was the other one in which there was a fair degree of interest. And on Q today, PB Fintech is up about 3.5% in trade. There was little interest, as they say, in Axis Bank, PSU banks, and NBFCs beyond Bajaj Finance and Shriram Finance essentially. So keep all of that in mind. Now, interesting, and I want to talk about PB Fintech with Kush Bora, because that stock has moved up in trade after a sharp correction. You could argue maybe due to this report as well. Any thoughts here, Kush Bora, from a trade perspective, PB Fintech?
It's slightly early for a momentum play on this one, but yes, I would grant it that the base formation has been in play for some time. The 1375, 1370 zone has acted as a good base. As we said, today's move could be on the back of this news, but yes, the base formation was in place. Now, as I said, momentum is missing, but a fairly attractive risk-reward ratio with 100-point kind of a stop loss. You could look at the upside as close to about as high as about 300 points. So 1:3, a fairly attractive risk-reward ratio. So this is one stock that yes, you can consider in your portfolio. There could be near-term resistances, but with the kind of news flow that you mentioned has come about, and the volume pickup that we're starting to see on the days when the stock is higher is actually starting to become a little attractive. So don't expect fireworks after the kind of move that it saw today. But yes, as I said, from a positional standpoint and a good risk-reward ratio, PB Fintech does make a good buy.